Have you ever really stopped to wonder how we, as a species, measure up on a truly cosmic scale? Not just against our own past, but against, well, any civilization that might be out there, anywhere in the universe. It's a pretty huge question, but it turns out there's an equally huge answer.
So let's just ask it straight up. If there were some kind of universal report card for civilizations, a way to grade progress across the stars, what would it say about us? Okay, let's get into it. To even start to answer that, we need some kind of cosmic yardstick. And we find one way back in 1964, right in the middle of the space race. A Soviet astronomer by the name of Nikolai Kardashev came up with a really simple but profound way to measure the unmeasurable.
He basically argued that the one single metric that matters most for any civilization's advancement is its energy consumption. Not its art, not its philosophy, but its raw, unadulterated power output. The more energy a society can control, well, the more advanced it is. It's a scale that's grounded in pure physics.
And what's so fascinating is how Kardashev himself defined what a civilization even is. He didn't just see it as a bunch of people. He saw it as a system, a stable system that's constantly gathering and processing information just to survive. And when you look at it that way, harnessing more and more energy becomes the ultimate survival reaction.
So, he laid out 3 initial levels. A Type 1 civilization has totally mastered its home planet, using all the energy available to it. Type 2, well, they've mastered their home star, capturing every bit of its energy. And Type 3? A Type 3 civilization has mastered its entire galaxy. The jump in power between each of these steps isn't just big, it's absolutely astronomical.
Which, of course, brings the question right back to our doorstep. We've got the scale, so where do we, humanity, actually land on this cosmic report card? This is our first big test.
And the grade is in. As of recently, we're sitting at about a Type 0.73. Yep, we haven't even graduated to Type 1. In cosmic terms, you could say we're kind of like planetary toddlers. We're just learning how to use the resources in our own cradle, and we're still running on the fossilized leftovers of ancient life.
So what would it actually mean to pass that test? To become a true Type I? We're talking about complete mastery of our planet, controlling weather patterns, stopping earthquakes before they happen, building cities that float on the oceans, and having the power to just push away any asteroid that comes our way. It's like having a planetary immune system.
But here's the thing. Our path to getting there is, well, it's not a sure thing. In a best-case scenario, if we get fusion power working and everybody decides to cooperate, we could make it in the next 100 or 200 years. But on the flip side, in a worst-case scenario, climate disasters, fighting over resources, our whole civilization could just stall out or even go backwards, pushing that goal centuries away.
Okay, so let's zoom out from our own planetary test for a minute. The next steps on this ladder, they represent a leap in power that is so vast, it's almost impossible for our brains to really wrap around.
A Type 2 civilization has completely outgrown its home planet. It would be harnessing the entire energy output of its star. That's billions of times more power than a Type 1. The most famous idea for how you do this is something called the Dyson sphere. Basically a giant swarm of collectors that would build a kind of greenhouse around the sun, catching every last drop of energy.
And then, you get to Type 3. This civilization has gone galactic. It commands the energy of billions of stars, maybe even tapping into the insane gravitational power of the supermassive black hole at the center of the galaxy. At this level, a star-going supernova would be a minor Tuesday. A civilization like this would be, for all practical purposes, immortal.
Now, Kardashev himself stopped at Type 3. But of course, other people couldn't resist. They let their imaginations run wild, and they've extended the scale into these realms where physics starts to blur into something else.
So where could it possibly end? Well, theoretically, it might not. You'd have a Type 4 civilization controlling entire superclusters of galaxies. A Type 5 would harness the energy of its whole universe. From there, a Type 6 could maybe operate across multiple universes. And then, at the very, very top, you get to Type 7, a being that can create and destroy universes whenever it wants. Essentially, a god.
And this really shows the difference, doesn't it? A Type 3 civilization, as powerful as it is still a creature of its universe, right? It's bound by the rules. But a Type 7 civilization, it's a creator of universes. It exists outside the simulation, the one running the whole show.
Of course, it's probably a good idea to keep our feet on the ground here.
As one person put it pretty well online, the Kardashev Scale isn't some boss character tier chart. These higher levels are really fun thought experiments, but they're built on physics we don't even know exist yet.
But that thought experiment does lead you to a really profound, maybe even a little unsettling question. If a being that can create universes is at least theoretically possible, how do we know we're not living in one of their creations right now? And that is the very heart of the simulation hypothesis.
Now, as compelling as this whole ladder of power is, some have started to question its most basic assumption, that progress always means expansion. Is just consuming more and more energy the only way to define what it means to be advanced? Or could there be another path? This leads to a really fascinating alternative from physicist John Barrow. Some people call it the anti-Kardashev scale. Instead of expanding outward, what if a civilization advances by turning inward, by mastering the ability to manipulate matter on smaller and smaller and smaller scales? Just think about the difference between a giant old steam engine and a modern microchip. The microchip is unbelievably more complex and powerful, but it's tiny. Barrow's idea suggests that maybe true advancement goes that way, not getting bigger and louder, but smaller, more efficient, and quieter, maybe to the point where they'd effectively just disappear from our view.
And there are other ideas out there too. Carl Sagan thought maybe we should grade civilizations on how much information they have. Others have suggested ranking them by how resilient they are to disasters, or just how far they've traveled from their home planet. It just goes to show you that advancement can be measured in a lot of different ways.
So, after this whole cosmic journey, what does this report card really tell us about ourselves? What's the final lesson here?
You see, the Kardashev scale was never really about measuring hypothetical aliens. It's a mirror. It forces us to look at our own future, our own potential, and what we prioritize. It makes us ask if our destiny is to conquer the cosmos and climb this ladder of pure power, or if true advancement might lie in a totally different direction, one that's maybe quieter, more inward, a future we can't even imagine yet. What kind of report card do we want to write for ourselves?